Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the thing you've all been waiting for. It's the Wolf versus Bear review. All right, we're joined by Rusty. If you weren't here last week, we did a wheel spin for Chance Time for Paramount Plus in honor of the new streaming service. And it landed on Zach's choice, and Zach's choice ended up with Wolf versus Bear. Yeah. And here we are.
How do you feel about that choice, Zach? Do you feel good about that choice now?
Like,
any regrets?
As I crack open a cold one for the boys?
I don't know. I was a little disappointed in Wolf versus Bear. As far as I was okay. Well, it was pretty good as far as like a 44-minute documentary, right? Like it had some good stuff to it, some good elements, but I was so disappointed in the conclusion of Wolf versus Bear. I was expecting an epic Wolf versus Bear fight, and we got nothing of the sort. We got some like pussy let's like distract him over here for a little bit. I'll grab some meat, and then they never even resolved the fight. It was like, okay, that was Wolf versus Bear, and then it's like, well, they'll be back next winter with more wolves.
They will be back in more, because the yearlings will be back. You know, that was kind of the tease for. Do you think there's a Wolf versus Bear 2? I mean, I don't really want to watch it, but
no. I love how like the opening scene. First of all, this is on YouTube, so you can go watch it on YouTube.
Really?
You saw it on YouTube.
It's not exclusive to Paramount Plus.
Okay.
I love how it's the opening scene is literally just a carcass, literally sitting in the middle of the snow, and this raven approaches it. And then this narrator guy, seemingly from the late 90s, early 2000s, is just like, bear needs food. So do wolves. What happens when they both need food at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
And then 43 minutes of nonsense ensues.
It was probably ultimately they'll just take a little bit of meat whenever they can get it, and then they'll have they'll like do a nibble here or there, and then they'll go their separate ways. That's how it goes.
So I was looking for some like actual. I was hoping to learn something, like a little something, and I learned very little.
I learned two things.
Okay. What'd you learn?
Well, you go for it. You were making a point.
Well, we'll come back to that. But yeah. I just there was so much like narrative that felt so ham-fisted and inserted. It was like. It felt like most of it was they just sort of we've got all this footage, just edit it to sort of together to make some sort of story, and it felt like there were things that happened in it that didn't actually happen in the order in which they declared that happened. Like it felt there were times where it was like, it's now fall, and you could see like flowering plants in the background, and I was like, no, it's not.
No.
I watched it with my housemates, and we were all like, no, there's flowers back there. That's not fall. Maybe it's like Finland, sure, okay, maybe we don't necessarily. Finland's in a relatively similar longitude to New England, so I was like, it's a fairly similar climate. Maybe it's a little more north than we are, but yeah, I mean, I just felt like there was just so much of a story that like didn't need to be one. I would have been a lot more interested in actual like genuine behavior science of like these animals and like more interesting, just a little bit more depth. It felt super shallow, and I that was why it was just not really that interesting, to be honest. So
who was your favorite character?
She-Wolf, man.
Mine was Swamp King for sure.
Yeah, I liked Swamp King. I liked Deposed Swamp King.
Deposed.
Yeah, Deposed Swamp King. Yeah, I mean, we see him get deposed. It's really like what would have been great is, and this is something that one of my housemates was like, it would have been great if they'd gone into. So why did it was just like all we saw of the fight was just a couple of blows. So it was like, well, why did Swamp King back off? It's like, sure, maybe the bear proved that it was stronger or something. It was a little bit bigger. It was a bigger bear, but why specifically? Yeah, there's no like that. That's where like the behavior sort of science would have been really interesting. It's like, okay, well, what is it about the other bear that came in he's like, I proved I'm alpha now. And this other bear sort of has to just get is now second fiddle. And he kind of like walks off dejected. And it's like, okay, well, what is it about with animals when they're posturing like that and they come to blows, but they never usually fight to the males never usually fight to the death, at least not that I'm aware of. Maybe they do. Again, would have been nice to know something about that. But as far as I'm aware, most males just kind of like they bluster. They sometimes come to blows, and then one just is like, "All right, you proved it." And it's like, "Okay, well, what is it about? Like, was it because it was such a strong blow? Did it hit like a spot that was very uncomfortable? Is there some pheromones at play? Like, what exactly is going on here?" And nothing. I got nothing.
Well, the narrator oftentimes too, either they did a quick Google response or they just, based on their observations, they just said, "It looks like the Swamp King is too tired to continue fighting, so he goes on."
It looks like, yeah.
This is a documentary about wolves and bears. You got nothing more for me than he's too tired, so he moves on now.
Well, my favorite was when the Swamp King is first introduced and this young bear comes up. Well, basically walks off. Like, he's like, "All right, it's yours. It's fine." And then the Swamp King just goes and like fights him for the heck of it, just like swing his dick around, I guess.
Yeah, basically that's it's posturing.
But yeah, so Swamp King. He had some character at least. He had some personality.
Yeah.
The wolves. The wolves. I couldn't tell any of the wolves apart.
No, unfortunately. I mean, She Wolf was very pretty, but and the little cubs were very cute, but
oh yeah,
that was about it. Wolflets.
Yeah, are they called cubs? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think they're called wolf cubs. Yeah.
Okay. But what about the random wannabe Game of Thrones transitions with like the land formations changing as the seasons would change? I'm like, was this before? I thought it was kind of a neat touch, but it just, again, the whole thing felt uninspired, and this was just kind of another touch of this just feeling uninspired.
Well, yeah, they'd have those 3D render moments, and then they'd use it for like transitions, but they'd also have like...
Oh, those 3D renders were awesome, actually. I actually really liked those, and I wish they used them more, because they were actually really good.
They would do like, here's the claws, and it'll be like zoom up on the claws. They would do stuff like that. So there's little moments of insight where that's when they whip out the 3D rendering. And it's like,
and like showing like the nasal passages of bears as well. It's like see how many like nerve endings and like all the sensory, the very impressive nature that a bear's nose has. So
oh yeah,
it's like, wow, human beings do not have impressive noses like compared to these animals.
So it just feels like the overall narrative, like when you present it as wolf versus bear, I expected something so like much more epic. But more, it was just like kind of like the wolves would just kind of just pick up what they could get, and it wasn't really there wasn't that much conflict there. It's like for as much conflict as there is in the animal kingdom, like this is not much. It's like I'll just nibble and try to get some food and drag it away here and there, and they don't even get that much off of it. And yeah, it's like even with the little storylines they do with the Swamp King, like you said, the fight itself, like you don't even get a good shot of. It's like the quote, I think it said like it was dethroned with one swipe of a massive claw, and you don't even like get a clear shot of that. It's just like, I'll take your word for it, and then you don't get much out of it. It's just weird, the decision they made.
Yeah.
The most intense action was never really between the wolf or the bear. I mean, the most we got was the wolf nibbling at the bear cub's butt to kind of just annoy them, so they would either drop the carcass or run away, so they could kind of distract them. The most intense action scene was really kind of when they took down, I think it was the reindeer, when the two wolves did
at the very beginning,
and that was about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I was expecting kind of a Fox and the Hound type scene at the very end of this documentary, but that just never happened.
Yeah, it was like I wanted an epic
something more.
Culmination of the storyline. They've been building up these, and also I don't know where I feel like it didn't have much of a reason. Like you were supposed to root for the wolf, right? Is that what they were going for? You're rooting for the wolf because they need food for the cubs. But then I don't know. I felt more attached to the bears, more interested in the bears at least a little bit. But
because of the the blubber, the they're where they're moving around and there's just blubbering around. It's really
that's why
they gotta absorb all that meat so they can survive through the winter and build up again.
Yeah. That's if you learn one thing from this. I knew that. Anything else? Wolf versus bear. I feel like in retrospect, this is the worst option I could have picked. I don't want to choose ever again.
I mean, like,
I expected a
did anyone else notice the weird frame rate things that were going on, where it was like it looked like they like were using like a fast motion camera and then they like sped it up really weird, and there was like weird cuts. Did anyone else notice that?
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there were some times where it would be a shot, and then all of a sudden it would show like it would kind of like skip around like weirdly, like, and it would even have like some ghosting, and then like it would just like all of a sudden cut to them being in like a slightly other position. It was very like jumpy at a couple points. It was just such a weird, bad editing. It was very, very off-putting.
And
yeah,
for something that's only 44 minutes long, I felt like I was really bored really quickly, and I was like falling asleep, and I was like, "Damn, I'm gonna miss."
About 11 minutes in, it felt like it was 30 to 40 minutes long already.
Yeah,
and it was
honestly, the thing that got me through it was watching it with my housemates. Like, if I just sat down and watched this alone, I think I would have died probably. It would have been horrible. So they humored me.
It's not hard to do animal documentaries right? Like. Yeah. You might not be like wanting to watch an animal documentary, but like generally they can be objectively good just as long as you have good footage and compelling enough narrative to go with it. So it's pretty impressive.
Would this be better if David Attenborough was narrating this?
I was honestly just about to say that, and I think it would have been like probably 60 to 70% better had David Attenborough narrated it, because I mean you could read a telephone book and I just feel comfort,
Exactly.
Great.
Well, it's funny you guys say that, because I went to YouTube and saw this was just free to watch there on YouTube. There's no ads or anything like that. And there were a couple of comments that I snagged because I thought they were just hilarious.
Oh, yes.
And fitting to this conversation. So the first one I have here, one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. I wish it was 3 or 4 hours long. Awesome job.
Okay.
It doesn't take a lot to impress him. I've seen much better documentaries, bub.
Yeah. The next one. This is underrated. Not gonna lie. I feel like more people should watch this.
Okay.
This next one, I literally just enjoy this so much. I felt like it was a sci-fi movie.
I don't get that one. I don't buy with that one. See, I don't think this is like really bad. Like, I don't think it's that bad. I think we're exaggerating a little bit. I think because it's like nowhere near as bad as like Alien Origin. Like, there's definitely a production value and quality to this. It's like,
there's some, but like in terms of documentary, you can do so much better than this, though. That's the thing. Like,
I think that's the problem. Yeah,
I mean, you don't even need the BBC money. Like, you can. I've seen excellent, like, lower grade, like this kind of scale documentaries. They just have a nice camera, a good film crew, and they're probably just an independent documentary or an independent nature photographer or what have you. And yeah, I mean, even just playing the raw footage would have been probably more exciting than the weird. Yeah, maybe. It was just. I felt like the forced narrative and the weird like voiceover about everything was just. I think that's what kind of ruined it for me, because it just felt like too forced. And it was like, if you had more genuine information, like there were some little tidbits that were thrown in where it talked about like how like wolves can run for like 100 miles in one day. They just keep running. Yeah. Like stuff like that's pretty cool. Like bears can cover that as well, but they're not going to move nearly as fast because they're not built for that. Just things like that would have been like, wow, that's really interesting, but we didn't really get a whole lot of that.
As fall approaches, bears will eat up to 90 pounds of meat a day in preparation for the hibernation. I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't know the poundage of food that they ate. I knew they ate a lot, but 90 pounds, pretty cool. But that's also something I can quickly Google. I don't know. Wasn't a ton of substance, but to your point, Zach, I do feel like the camera quality was pretty good,
Yeah,
It
they
wasn't
got,
BBC or whatever. It wasn't Planet Earth. But
Some nice drone shots.
yeah, I like the drone shots.
Some good drone shots. Yeah, nice landscape photography.
I mean, they should have gotten in there more. They should have gotten right next to the bear. They should have got right in that fight, get some dynamic shots of that fight.
I mean, to me, it was kind of clear in some of those that they were using like a motion-assisted camera. I think that was kind of, or particularly like the ones where they're towards the wolf den. That was like there was nobody there because there was no possible way that they would be able to get that close. Yeah, there's some. I mean, there's like I said, good, decent production values. I just particularly again, I actually really liked the sort of like 3D CG stuff where they were like, yeah, I use these cool graphic models that were like. They were showing like the territory, the map, and then they had the ones, the close-ups of the claws and stuff like that. It was cool.
All right, so what would you give this out of 10 at the end of the day?
I would give it about a 5. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really that great. It was pretty average baseline. 5 is.
Mm-hmm.
There was some. If you like animal documentaries, you could do better, but I don't know if you could do that much worse. But like, it's still fine. It's no Planet Earth, but if you just want a quick little something, you just want to see some wolves and bears, just be prepped not to actually see much versus.
Yeah, that's really like what that draws them in. It's like we're gonna draw you in with the concept of wolf versus bear, and then you'll learn a couple things about wolves and bears, and they'll interact a little bit, but not. It's not that much versus.
I don't know, Zach. What are you thinking? I'm leaning more towards 6, but I also don't know what puts this above average because I don't think it really does anything to push it over that hump.
Mm-hmm.
There's some redeeming qualities. The Game of Thrones little formation movement is kind of neat. There are a lot of cute shots of baby reindeer and baby cubs and.
Baby reindeer. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, I just this is not something I would ever rewatch again unless I was like a science teacher and I needed to fill some time for a class or something. Like I wasn't feeling well, and it's like, let's just throw on a quick documentary, 44 minutes, and get the kids out the door. But outside of that, I just don't think this is ever something I want to watch.
Those. Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on what your rating scale is. If you think 5 is average, I mean, generally, I feel like the average of our scores is somewhere around a 7. Like for me, 7.5 is around when it's a movie I would rewatch. So, but I would agree with a 5. I would put 5 for this as well. It would be 5 or 6. It's like there's not much there like to really push it further than that. But yeah, I'll settle on a 5.
Well, I'll settle on a 6 then, and we'll do a little. I guess if you have to divide by 3, I don't even know what that number would be, but
yeah, it'll be. Scores on the screen. Tarqaron score 5.
You don't want to do the math.
Oh wait,
wouldn't it be 5 point? Oh, yeah, wait. So that's 5. That's like 5 and a third. Yeah.
5.33. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that.
Or 33.
Official Tarqaron score.
33.
Yeah. So in conclusion, don't pick the animal documentary option. It's not going to go well. Yeah. Generally, if you go on a streaming service, probably not. See, I wonder Disney Plus. I wonder like with the documentaries on there, like
they have Nat Geo stuff on there. That's usually pretty good quality. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I'll be scared to touch anything animal related from now on.
Speaking of animals, I have some Pokemon cards here, and I want to be the most exciting thing in this video.
Whoa!
So I'm gonna open this tiny little pack that I got in a cereal box.
So you get a bear.
What was the cereal?
That's the
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They don't have. I don't know if they have bear in here. They do have.
Bear. Well, there's some.
They do. Bear.
Bear. There's no
wolf
Ursaring. Kind of Pokemon. Give it to me.
Bear or wolf? Okay, so what we got? So we have the foil Pikachu, which I already got in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
Box before. I think that's the only thing that comes in Cinnamon Toast Crunch. There's multiple foils that you can get though. So I don't know. Qfant. So we have a cute little elephant Pokemon.
We should have watched an elephant documentary.
Shield. That would have been kind of cute. And then a little Yamper. There he is. Yeah.
Aww.
Yamper. He's cute, cute little guy. Let me see. Randy's do any good?
Is that all?
Qfant's pretty decent for a basic Pokemon.
No
it's
bear.
2 energy. It requires 2 steel energy, but if you have
flip
Oh my gosh.
flip a coin. If it has,
The only
Yes.
bear that matters.
there's 20 more damage. That's pretty good. Ooh, there's a bear and a bird.
Yep.
Go. Also, there was also a shocking amount of just like dead and rotting animals, like a lot. And so that was why I was kind of surprised when they like didn't show us the regurgitation of the meat. I was kind of hoping to see that. No, honestly, I found that really fascinating. I was like, I didn't know wolves regurgitate.
I didn't know they do that, but you did see like the little sudsy looking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you saw that, but you didn't see her actually doing it. And I was like, I kind of want to see. I was like, is that really the grossest thing we've seen? I don't think so.
They cut away,
we've seen literally like molding and rotting flesh that has been like directly on screen. That's grosser, I think, than that. But man, maybe that's just me.
Well, watch out for the next season Tarqaron All Stars when Swamp King makes his appearance. He'll be there. Man, I wish we did the Comedy Central roast of Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, that would
never get an opportunity like that again.
I mean,
you never know.
Never again. Well, I mean, we could just watch it.
We could have Pamela Anderson and Tarqaron All Stars instead.
Instead of it's just a random wolf and bear. I would say more the character of this one is really the ominous narrator.
It's
the bodiless narrator.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, if you watch this video and you enjoyed it, feel free to check out Rusty on the Otaku Brothers Gaming Podcast, available on wherever podcasts can be found. Also, Twitter, Ari Lewis 2011, and Twitch at some point, Ari Lewis 2011. Right? Anything else? Box Office
That's
Bliss.
All the places. Yes, Box Office Bliss. I also do a podcast with another friend of mine, Josh. We're starting season 2 soon. We're going to watch the Back to the Future films. Right now, we're going through all of the Fast and the Furious movies. So if you're into that kind of thing, check out Box Office Bliss.
Hell yeah.
There was apparently a new trailer for the most recent one that I didn't watch it. But
F9, yeah.
F9. They're not even trying anymore.
They did that before. They did F7, and then they did like Fate, F8.
No, F7 was Furious 7. And so the Red Letter Media joke was like, what are they going to call it next? The 8?
The 8.
Because they'd already used Fast 5 and then Fast and Furious 6. And it was like Furious 7, so like, is it the 8?
I'm begging you guys. I want to see you guys read those movies so badly. I think you guys would have such a fun time.
I've seen a couple of them. I don't know which ones. I know I've seen the end of Fast 5, which is just probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, but I loved every second of it. And then I saw
all of those movies though.
Yeah, and then I saw I think I saw part of 6.
I've seen from 5 on. I didn't see the first 4. Yeah, I would definitely be up for that at some point, for sure.
Yeah, I would too. Compared to what we're doing next.
Oh, it's gonna be great. All right.
It is gonna be great, but I'm also kind of not looking forward to it.
No,
but we'll leave that a mystery for now.
All right. So subscribe to the channel, subscribe to our podcast feed, like the video, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Tarqaron TWO. All right.
All right.
Thank you. What team are you on? Team Wolf, Team Bear?
I'm Team Wolf.
Team Bear?
Yeah, I think I'd agree. All right.
Team Bear right here.
All right.
I'm a Swamp King stan, ride or die. Okay.